Hello and welcome to Talking in Stations Daily Eve Report. I am Manneral here with Manixar. How you doing?
Hello, doing great.
And our researcher Gregorian is standing by. Okay, today we're going to cover GM Week. We'll look into that. In player news, we're going to see who the new FCs are going to be for Horde, considering Alpha Star Pilot has left his position there as their head FC. And then we'll have a look at the war report, see where the action is. Probably Quarious is my guess. But also Fountains. We'll check in on Initiative's progress in taking back that region. All right, let's jump into things with a look at Dotland. It's actually not land, it's land, but I call it Dotland. All right, in Quarious, there is 1,073 ships destroyed in the last 24 hours. So some big action there. That's where the war front is. Delve is in second place. That is 850 ships destroyed. And Catch in third with 698 ships destroyed. Funny enough, Fountain is in fourth place with 436 ships destroyed. Those are the regions where the war is taking place. So the war is definitely heating up. And so those are the most violent regions in null security space. The war is dominating null security at this point. But looking back at Empire region, Domain has 2,271 ships destroyed with 1,402 pods. Love to see those pods in high sec. It's very unusual. Lone Trek, more ships destroyed in Lone Trek, 2,781, but it falls in second place because only 656 pods were destroyed. And finally, Forge is in third place. The old king is gone. 2,418 ships destroyed, 911 pods. Very interesting that those three regions are so active. They are much more active than nullsec during a massive war. And they total about 7,000 ships destroyed in the last 24 hours there. Crazy.
Definitely highly active area.
Yeah. So most violent systems, let's see if there's any anomalies. I don't see any, even in the 24-hour section. We see Rio from Kalevala Expanse, that's Horde territory, with 208 ships destroyed. Not that many for 24-hour cycle. I would have expected to see more, but you do see multiple systems here. GOP, TAC GE, VTAC LE, KM, 49 TAC U, that's a famous system in Quarious. All three of those are in Quarious, adding up to a lot of action in Quarious. Also see some Providence sneaking in here. YTAC M looks like 104 ships destroyed in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, YTAC M is Wrecking Crew's main staging system, so that it's also a gate to high sec.
Yeah, it's one jet from high sec as well, so that's always going to be a little hot in that area.
Yeah, maybe gate camp. Okay, moving on to most violent systems in low sec. Well, it looks like we have something going on in Dal. That's DAL. That's the system in Hamatar, the region. 243 ships destroyed, 24 pods. That's a very few pods for, well, low sec, there's going to be less pods. So that's some kind of a battle going on there. That's in the last 3 hours. But it does push Dal to the very top of the list in the last day or so. It has, for the 24-hour cycle, 497 ships destroyed. So something going on in Dal. Second on the low sec most dangerous list in the last 24 hours is Tama, a regular, 404 ships destroyed there. And Fulegur in Metropolis, 126 ships destroyed there to round out the top three. Interesting enough, Hamatar and Metropolis are both Minmatar regions. I wonder what's going on with the Minmatar people.
I know that for low sec, a lot of the systems in both of those regions are hunted by Ivana, which is one of the groups of low sec super hunters.
Yeah, Ivana Trading Company. Well, they prefer Minmatar space. I think they sit out in Metropolis, I think, or it may be Haymatar, but it's over there on the east side of the map of the Minmatar space. Okay, most violent systems in HiSec. These are systems now. So Nyarja tops the list with 1,247, with the Forge, with Jita from the Forge region, 629. Those are pretty standard numbers these days. Nyarja really skyrocketed to the top of that list. It's a very dangerous system in HiSec. Let's have a look at the NPC kills just to visit. It looks like Oasa is cleaning up again. Top 3 systems belong to that region. 53,000 in ROTAC AIQ alone. So that one system has over 50,000 NPCs destroyed. The next 2 have about 35 to 40,000. And in the end, Oasa has half of the top spots in the last 24 hours. So a lot of NPC ratting going on there. Okay, moving on to some SOV news. Pandemic Horde drops 51 systems. That's probably all Fountain. And the initiative is picking up 48 of those systems. So it's definitely a giant trade-off. Horde and company, happy, invaded Fountain, pretty much took it down, and then vacated. And because it's uncontested now, so initiative's really plowing through it at record speeds. 48 systems reconquered. Looks good on paper. Depends on what they decide to do with it. Are they going to put up structures? Will they drop a couple of keepstars in Defiance to show strength and morale? Not sure. We'll have to see what happens in the next few weeks. Once they reclaim it, we'll see what they try to do with it, if anything. At the same time, I want to make another point. While Fountain was being taken from the initiative actually did a lot of damage, or tried to, I don't know how successful it was, but they did a lot of missions into the Care Bear space for the people who were attacking him from Pappy. Let me see where that information went that I got earlier, and I'll see if I can read it. Okay, so here it is. The change in Init defending Fountain wasn't due to the loss of carriers in LTAC A. It's because we lost cap advantage. And they had around 600 to 900 dreads ready. Now, what he's referring to is that the Battle of LTAC A was probably the most pivotal battle to happen in the war so far. And the details surrounding that were that Test and part of Pappy put a lot of dreadnoughts up into Hophib area, which is right next to basically the entrance of Fountain. With dreadnoughts sitting essentially one jump from Fountain, that's a big disincentive to use your super capital ships if they can be taken on by dreadnoughts. And 600 to 900 dreadnoughts is unbelievable. That is so many dreadnoughts. That's wave after wave of dreadnoughts. So to go against that, you really have to know your situation, which is not always easy to do. So with that kind of pressure, the initiative decided to move away from Fountain and let it drop while they move back into Delve. But I'll continue reading here. So we got to see what they really had. Also, they moved a lot more people in to take Fountain after they didn't get any progress in the initial week. As for Init's offensive, Init learned of the war. Init had been, since Init learned from the war, Init has been hunting their income in all regions, resulting in 70 Rorquals killed by Init and Init mercenaries, plus some supers, around 400 billion since June 12th to today. And Init hasn't called a CTA, which we did in the first weeks, resulting in high numbers or FC team doesn't throw out CTAs like other factions. Okay, and that's an interesting point. We made that point yesterday. There was some talk about Init calling everybody to arms too early in the war, and we saw that spike, and we saw a great resistance. Then we saw the Battle of Altec A, and there haven't been any CTAs since then. So that means they were like, we're not going to burn everybody out by gathering them all the time. So we'll let everybody rest, and we'll cool off, and we won't contest Fountain. And that's why their numbers sagged and continued to continued actually pretty even, but they had sagged after their initial defense. But they were busy, as you can see, killing more than 70 Rorquals and 400 billion in supers in other areas. So it wasn't like they went to sleep. It's they looked for objectives elsewhere. Okay, so I wanted to
the initiative has done a lot of whaling type operations even before the war began. It's something they've become very good at.
Oh yeah, you just asked Ron, right? They frequent Esoteria a lot in other areas like Razor and Dedoroid and XIX. So they're all the time going after the big game, right? The orcas and rorquals and supers that's out ratting and trying to farm. So they're really good at that. Pando is a really good FC when it comes to that type of engagements.
Yeah, Pando's probably the FC who's done the most Kikimora whaling.
Okay, so okay, thanks guys. So another thing that's interesting, I didn't expect to see this. This is a surprise, but it looks like Nullsecnia, Shulpin, who remember had moved into Fountain as Fountain's getting taken over by Initiative. What are these guys going to do is what I'm thinking. And it looks like they picked up 17 systems, was it? Let's go back there and look. Yeah, it was 13 systems. They lost 6, but they picked up 13, which is interesting. That might be just TCUs, which wouldn't mean much. But let's go back there and look. Actually, look at Fountain. Have a look at the iHub situation, which really determines the power balance. Oh yes, the initiative has definitely picked up more territory since yesterday. We said 48 systems. Horde has lost 53. So all those are turning from yellow Horde, that's Horde's color, to blue Initiative. And you can see over in Nullsecnia's area that the iHub balance control is about even. There's in their constellation, they have 2 out of 6, and Initiative have 2 out of 6. So, or 2 out of 8. Sorry. So there's 4 that are empty, or I believe could be 2 other ones. Depends on how big that constellation is, but essentially it's kind of tied. That is where I would expect to see some resistance. Nullsecnia is capable, so we'll have to see what Initiative can do about them. Other than that, Initiative seems to be picking up all this space without it being contested. Oh, LSH is down here. You see this green spots down here? That's interesting. LSH is a Russian group that is essentially expert whale hunters, but also pretty fierce fighters. They're feared by just about everybody on the board. And so we'll have to see what they intend to do there. So that's low Secnia. That is not null Secnia. 2 different groups. That's a wild card.
Yeah, and that's that pocket near Hobhib too. So that's the that was the staging point. So
yeah, it's natural progression from them. They rule Iridia essentially. Okay, looking at a couple other things. Looks like Volta picks up 7 systems. And that's got to be in Fades. They're taking that over from Conifers.
And that's in Fade.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fighting those Conifers. So
looks like they're winning.
Oh yeah.
I had heard a lot of people speculating that Volta might have died, but it looks like they're pretty active again now.
Yeah, they're actually gaining Sov, so they're definitely alive. Question from the audience here. What is going on with the redeployment of test PAMFAM supers? We don't know where I think we do know where the staging systems are, but what we know is we don't know exactly where they are, but we do know that they're ready to be used as the sub cap fleets are going into Quarious and really showering the place with a lot of battles. So there's a lot going on in Quarious. That whole redeployment south is happening even quicker than I assumed it would happen. I thought it would take a week for them to go down there and form, but they were a little more agile than that. They had a lot of sorties, I guess, really quickly. I want to say hi to Ron USMC there in the audience. Good to see him. Okay, this just in, but we knew about it yesterday. We just can't really talk about it because it's strategic, I guess. But the Irmalin keepstar anchored this morning, and that is a keepstar put down by Pappy forces in the system of Irmalin. Let's take a look at that. I believe that's in Canid.
Yeah, that's the asset safety system for Delve.
Right, and we did see yesterday, was it, that an Eon that was actually heading into Delve was intercepted there and destroyed. So that Aeon wasn't trying from I think the corporation was Sundering, wasn't trying to escape. It was trying to get into the region for the fighting that's going to happen, but it was intercepted and destroyed. But now Irmalin has a keepstar put down by the Pappy forces. I believe it was Fraternity that put that down, and that is going to be an interesting system to watch in the future. Anybody who is trying to asset safety their way out of Delve or period basis, I believe, is going to end up in that system now with an enemy keepstar in it. We'll see how that goes. Oh, I'd like to say hi to Jeronica, an old friend there in the audience as well. Let's have a look. And it's a graveyard for some supers. I wonder if he's talking about Irmalin. Yeah.
That would make
I believe so.
It's an asset safety system. Asset safety stations tend to be camped pretty heavily.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. This is Interstellar. This is the collapsed out fight where the Titan just went down. I believe that guy's leaving the game, so we weren't really going to bring that one up. But a Titan took it down.
Yeah, this is collapsed out the Alliance, not to be confused with the Corp in Pandemic Legion.
Yeah, different groups. Also, this was a gimme, so it's not a war target. So we'll just leave that one there. Okay. On our way back to some of the news. Yeah, the Irmalin keepstar went down. Wanted to mention that. I don't think we had that in our notes today. Okay, so we've gone through some of the SOV changes. Let's look at Alliance changes in the last week or so. Silent Company constantly growing with another 400. This is a continuation of 7 days, so they may actually have picked up less, but they're in growth mode right now because they're the biggest high-sec alliance. They do a ton of aggressive recruiting by sending everybody they see a message to join them. They provide services for people who are just starting the game, and there's a lot of people starting the game because of Eve Echoes. Fraternity picks up 296. Goonswarm also picks up 276, and Pandemic Horde 256. Why are these guys picking up people during a war?
Pandemic Horde has always had an open recruitment policy. So basically, if you're not a known spy or known bad actor in some other way, you can get in, even if you don't give your ESIs. Gobbins once described it as saying that since any competent spy will get in anyway, why bother with ESI checks?
Right. Why keep out potentially good players in the future to stop spies that can get in anyway? Okay.
The
But-
more interesting thing is Goon Swarm gaining members because they actually did close their recruitment for the war.
Yeah, so we don't know if that was the actual reason. We're speculating that it could be the increase from the bringing up the was it the horn of Gundor?
Horn of
They're
Gundor.
sounding the horn of Gundor might have brought some players back. So it's possible.
It definitely brought some money and supplies back. And also a few middle fingers, right? Even
yeah, quite a few of those as well.
Matani commented on like not everybody's happy about it. And those get mad upvotes in Reddit because it's a big FU, but it's like 3 or 4 guys, not more than that. Okay, so the Watchmen. What about those guys? Love that name. Picked up 188 people. Who are they a part of? Providence?
They're a legacy alliance, they live in the area that I associate with legacy space, and they're legacy definitely because they also picked up a little bit of Sov and Quarious as part of legacy's push.
I wonder if they're part of the Voltron. You know how they're calling Brave.
Voltron is what the term that was created to describe all of the smaller legacy alliances forming of fleets together to match the size of a larger alliance's fleet, like Horde or Goons.
Oh, I
or
see.
Test.
So that's the Voltron aspect of it. It's that these guys all pile into one fleet commander from, I imagine, let's say it's Brave, which is probably the biggest of the Voltron groups. So they, instead of flying individuals or flying coalition, they'll pile into that smaller group and become a hefty group in the process.
So Legacy might, for example, form up a test fleet and a Voltron fleet for the same objective, rather than a test fleet, a Brave fleet, and Evictus fleet, and everyone else's fleets.
Yeah.
It also makes it a lot easier for the FCs to communicate, not having, like he was saying, 5 or 6 different fleets. You only have 2, right?
Right. Yeah, and Voltron was, we saw them, I think, for the first time. I understood who they were because they were in that fight, the G Magic fight that happened a few days ago. They were the ones on the other side of the gate, the regional gate. They were on the TCAG side, holding off the entrance as Goon Swarm was aligning their supers. So good on them for playing a role in that big fight. A lot of Voltron were sacrificed that day, I guess. I don't know. Okay. Wow. So that's our review of Dotland today. Now let's go to Maddoxar here and talk about GM week. What's going on there?
Well, it looks like Monday starts off the GM week. They've got like some week-long events. The Orbital Stash. That's where containers are going to be planted around New Eden, and like you'll get hints through different like chat channels from GMs or something like that, and you'll have to track down these stash to get the loot. I'm not sure what the loot's going to be. The Scavenger Hunt's pretty much the same thing. You'll have GMs communicating with players to kind of give clues and hints to where these items or loot caches are. Then you got the game masters.
What?
The game masters visiting the GMs, visiting the rookie systems, interacting with players. You got short story competition, potato PC competition. I'm not sure what that's all about, and worst ship fit competition. I might actually join that one. We'll see. And more interesting, my favorite, the Wackabot. It's going to be in Yulai on Monday, 14th of September at 1700 UTC time, which is Eve time. There's going to be fleets with BjornBee, GMs, and ISDs. That's going to start Tuesday. The 15th, Thursday, there's a Reddit AMA, and then the end of the week, the competition winners will be announced. Right? I'm not sure what else is going on, but that all starts next week.
Cool. Right. That Wacka bot and Yulai that's happening on Monday the 14th, those are really popular, right? Can you describe what that is?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that's where the GMs will port botters, be it their supers or whatever they're botting in into that system for the players to kill. So that's always fun and a chance to get on some pretty blingy kill mails. So
Yeah, free kills for usually supers or bigger. You wouldn't see a Titan there. Well, you may
Titans.
see a Titan.
Yeah, you see Titans.
Yeah.
People, you see Titans.
I don't think there will be as many Titans anymore because due to the boson nerfs a while back, I think at the end of last year, you can't really rat with them as much.
Yeah, and they did remove the ability for them to have the hull guns too, I believe. So that could be a thing.
Angular weaponry. That's high angular weaponry. And that means those giant ships can shoot little ships with those, but they don't do much damage to big ships. So, yeah. And they took those away from Titans. So Titans are really not able to track or shoot little ships anymore, except maybe with a smart bomb or something. Or their Doomsday. Okay.
But they also nerfed the application of the boson, which is the Doomsday type that's most capable of hitting smaller ships, which is also why it's hard to rat with them and why I don't expect to see many bots using them.
Right. Well, who knows? We'll see what pops up in Wackabot in Yulai. That's Monday the 14th. Usually very popular. It reminds me of people feeding seals with fish.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Pretty much what it is.
Yeah. It's like, do a flip. Here's a fish. Okay. Let's go on to some player news then. So Pandemic Horde has lost its main FC. And who is going to take over that FC spot? Regard?
Well, Horde's deployment actually started as Alpha Star Pilot's personal SIG, basically, and it's still organized as such, even though it's pretty much an alliance level deployment. It pretty much functions as an alliance deployment. So it's been hard to it's hard to get used to not having him around, but we have some good FCs, and the main ones will be Blank and Johnny Trouser Snake. Is a German guy who spent a long time in the Corp Know Your Role, which was in Lumpy and then Skill Yourself. And then when Skill Yourself disbanded, they moved to Fraternity for a while before moving to Horde. And, well, that Corp is no longer active, but he's FCing Horde as part of Horde Vanguard. And he's a very good fleet commander. And Johnny Trouser Snake is he's a longtime member of Horde who's a director and an FC who I guess he's more the capital guy and is more the sub-capital guy for command.
Mm-hmm. Right. And at this time, it might be a little easier since they're at war. They have other FCs that can absorb players, FCs that have years and years and years of experience on a coalition level.
Oh yeah, there are a lot of FCs, even beyond the ones who are currently active. There are a lot of people in the Alliance are FCs to some degree who can step up and help out, even if they don't want to be big block warfare leadership types again.
Yeah. So Blank goes back to Lumpy, which is interesting because Lumpy used to live in Delve. That is until they were kicked out by the Imperium that was moving south after it had been evicted in the north. So I wonder if Blank has a score to settle in Delve.
He's actually shared some propaganda from that previous time when the Lumpy fought the Imperium.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to get his chance.
Yeah, we'll see. So Lumpy also has some roots in Evoke, if I'm not mistaken. Evoke was a great alliance back in around 2007 through 2010. They were, again, mostly German. They were quite good fighting the Northern Coalition, the original Northern Coalition, they were fighting alongside NC Dot against Northern Coalition. So Evoke, long time. I think they were also even contenders for the championship of the Alliance tournament. They're just known as very good pilots. And when they disassembled or went away, I heard that some of them transferred to Lumpy, but it might have been overstated at the time. Might have only been a few key guys that did that. And then they may have eventually left. But Lumpy really at this point deserves its own recognition as its own entity. But I like the idea that they have roots in Evoke, because Evoke's a great corp or great alliance. Okay, let's go to well, we talked about Volta taking space from conifers. Good on them. There's some propaganda that came out from Fleet Commander, I think his name is, and
Fleet is the leader of Volta.
Who is Space Fleet Commander?
Starfleet Commander.
Starfleet Commander. Oops, I apologize. Yeah, Starfleet Commander.
Volta had lost most of their corps over, I guess, the Veil of the Silent deployment didn't turn out as those corps had wanted, but looks like they're now getting back to doing pretty well for themselves. So good for them.
Yeah, looks like they're cleaning up. Well, it could be just the propaganda, but the map says it all. Let's have a look at Fade, actually. We'll go up here, and this is what's happening up there in Fade. Fade's a very small region. It's tiny, but clearly under attack. I don't know if they were putting down iHubs. Let's have a look at the iHub count. Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got that NPC nullsec 2 in the area, so it's very easy to hit Fade as well.
I think yeah, so these are being taken over by Volta, so good on them.
All right. I assume they're coming from OR, IR, Tech Y.
Yeah.
Probably where they staging from.
Right. So that's Fade. Okay, so that's some of the stuff's going on in nullsec. We want to double down on the war report and see if there is some more stuff in Quarious. We're going to go and visit that now. That's where most of the action is happening. Did our guest get back to you, Manixar?
Yeah, I wasn't able to come.
Oh, okay. Not able to come on. We're hoping to grab Pro God Legend, see if he can give us some insight on what's going on here in Quarious, if there's any progress been made. Clearly, there's systems contested in what Billy called the Aquarian spine, I think, and that's this long, we call this a pipe, basically. But it does look like a spine curved over. And that's dangerous for Delve, again, as we discussed yesterday, because these systems here start to get into jump range of Delve. And so if these get controlled or have iHubs that allow jump bridges to be installed there, that could mean easy travel to that area, which puts them really within range of Delve and starting to cut into the Imperium's home proper. So we'll keep an eye on that. That's really the exciting stuff. But Quarious has all kinds of systems that people are fighting over now. And I think down here in 49U, which is this system right here, Init has got that one locked down. We'll see what happens. But
49U is the regional gate to catch, and there are frequent border skirmishes there with Legacy, and the Imperium has a keepstar in there.
That's right, it has a keepstar. I think there's actually 2 other keepstars in Quarious, if I'm not mistaken. But 49U, 49 TAC U is actually a famous system. I believe that is where Bob was camped in when it died, essentially. They moved all their supers into a station in 49 TAC, and that was a mistake because that's when Goon Swarm and Pandemic Legion and other groups surrounded the station, bubbled it up, and camped it in, not for one day but for many days, and that really exhausted the more or less retreating band of brothers at the time. That's not where they met their end, but that was a pivotal station in that whole conflict a long time ago. Okay, and we did look at Initiative's progress earlier in Fountain, where they picked up 48 systems. And what do we have in Quarious here? At least 2 Fortizar timers. Sorry, faction
I know
Fortizar
that
timers.
a few. I'm pretty sure it's more than 2.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't remember the exact count, but I know that PanFam and Legacy have reinforced a few of the Imperium's faction Fortizars in the region for timers coming up over the weekend.
Yeah. Let's actually have a look at the timer board and see if there's some stuff we can see, but we'll look at iHubs just to be more specific to the actual targets. And Quarious is on here quite a bit. So is Fountain, but Quarious too. Quarious really is where the war is right now. I think the Initiative taking over Fountain is interesting, but it's not, there's no weight behind it. Quarious is where the weight is. This is where the potential gigantic conflict can happen. So we'll see a ton of selected by region. Oh, it looks like Declown's on fire. I'll have to investigate that a little bit later, but okay, Quarious doesn't, oh, here they are. Wow, they do. I was about to say they don't have that many, but I didn't scroll down. But yeah, all these here. Can I just select these? Thank you. Yeah. So that's a lot of iHubs that are going to be taken over. That's not the whole region, of course, not even maybe a third of the region, or might be about a third of the region. That's a lot. So we'll be seeing some things. Again, normally in these wars, they try to time things so that the actual fight can happen on the weekends when most people are available. So you might see a lot of things happening this weekend that might shed more light on which direction this war is going.
Yeah, it should be a fairly active weekend. Definitely, Fountain has been glass. Patrick Force has moved to Quarious.
Mm-hmm.
And after this is probably Delve.
Yeah, and most people are expecting Quarious to go faster than Fountain did because
Really?
Quarious was never anyone's home, so there wasn't as much built up nor as much of a desire to defend home, because that's Delve for the people who are defending Quarious.
Yeah. Real quick, I'm going to return because Durandal here made a great point. The 49 TAC U decided the balance of power in Serenity server as well. That's the Chinese server. It was 49 TAC U where their cataclysmic fight to decide who was going to rule the server happened. So it is a very famous and notable system. Again, from the audience here, Sikander Cole saying, wait, Initiative has no weight. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that Fountain's activity in the grand scheme of things has no weight compared to Fountain. And I think you would agree that the real potential battle zone is Quarious, not Fountain.
Right, because Fountain's been made pretty much unusable. It's a wasteland. Even if they take it back, it's going to take months to get back to any place where they could extract some like actual resources and actually utilize the solve there in Fountain now at this point. So, and then the main fight has moved to Quarious.
Yeah. And to be clear, Initiative has a ton of weight. They're a great alliance and have been for a long, long time. I was allied with them in 2011, 2010, just to give you an idea of how long they've been around, and in a pretty dominant position for most of that time. So initiative clearly has weight. So we'll see how they pitch in during this fight. So let's get out of Fade and head back to the universe. But I think we're all out of news today, unless you guys have other things that you want to share with us here at this latest hour. Again, a Titan did just go down, but it was kind of a gimme, so it's not a war target. More of an event that a player is putting on. So that's that. Well, actually, we're at the end of our usual 40 minutes. I want to say thanks to Manixar and also to Gregorian. Thanks for helping out today, guys.
Hey, no problem.
And we will be back on Monday, but don't forget, on Sunday, we have the weekly roundup with all our subject matter experts. We'll look at the news and more. That's on Sunday on Talking in Stations. Until then, we will see you in space.